And so I just felt like I was getting a glimpse into you in a really like personal, raw way. Like I was reading your diary kind of, but I wasn't. Or if guys have diaries, his journal, his man journal.
Question time with PJ. Scene 1, take 1. Action. PJ, for you, what was one of your favorite parts of reading Love Gone Wild? And what's one thing that surprised you in reading Love Gone Wild?
I think one thing that surprised me is probably really individual to me, but how, I don't want to say like well written, how engaging it was. Like I know him, right? So I thought, I was like, oh, I'm going to sit down and read this book that is going to be like, oh yeah, I know all this information, or I know this story, or I know whatever, right? It really, like, from the moment I started reading it, was so engaging and pulling me in. Yes, because I had lived it, but because I had also seen the transformation, but because it's also so filled with spirit-led writing, scripture references, everything that I like needed. It was so educational, engaging, personal, like deeply personal. So I think that was one of the things that really surprised me. And then the other question was my favorite part.
Yeah.
I think I've talked about it a lot, chapter 5, because to me, it's just the like, as what we're talking about, the transformation, it was like the depth of the transformation that I got to actually witness. So as he's talking about the different components of his relationship with his mom, then him as a parent, I watched him go through, because we have now been together for like 23 years, all of these changes and all of those things that as he's processing, I'm remembering all of those little details that he's sharing in the book. To me, it was so like deeply personal, but I also felt like I was let into a little part of his personal reflection. Mm-hmm. Like you think you talk to your spouse, but I think sometimes when they're journaling or writing, it's like their heart being poured out in a different way. When you're unguarded, like you're just writing, versus like when you're processing with a spouse, sometimes it's like you hold stuff back because of what that person might take, however someone might take it or something. And so I just felt like I was getting a glimpse into you in a really like personal, raw way. Like I was reading your diary kind of, but I wasn't. Or if guys have diaries, his journal, his man journal with a blue cover. And the part about his mom I thought was so beautiful. I love the aspect of love when we can look at our parents and we can look at them from an objective point of view for the first time. They stop being just like a parent. Like I think a lot of young people think your only job, like your only life and your only job on earth is to be my parent. That's the only way I see you. But then you reach a certain age where you really start to reflect on your parents. When I have had the ability and the blessing of being able to do that as well. So him being able to look back on his mom's story from a place of how she must have been feeling, her reality, the historical, like the time period, the loss that she experienced. So really giving space and time for his mom's story in such a vulnerable way. I really thought that was a beautiful aspect as well.
Final question. Mm-hmm. What is one thing you both are looking forward to in your future? You're at a really interesting point in your lives as a couple. You're like making the journey towards being empty nesters. Your older two kids are university age, and then you've got, Mr. Micah, who's probably gonna move out tomorrow.
And start a company.
Exactly. But what's one thing that you two are looking forward to in the future as you kind of cross in that next stage of your marriage?
I mean this with the bottom of my heart. I think that question made me reflect on what made me feel like she was the one. And I don't know how many people choose this way. And I can't say I chose this, I thought about this at the time, but I'm actually looking forward to spending the rest of our time together. Like, I actually believe our latter days is going to be so much more funner. First of all, we're going to have more money than we did when we were younger.
We're not going to be a coin star.
Right. Exactly. But I feel like I know one of the things I thought is that, man, physically and emotionally, she's going to age very well. And I feel like with wherever our kids are going to be, we're going to be involved, but the traveling to that, to being grandparents, to seeing the world together, to serving people together, to worshiping God together. The empty nest for me really excites me because I get her to myself, finally. And before we had Malia, we was partying. And then we had Malia right away. We never got to be empty nesters,
Newlyweds,
right? We never got to be newlyweds. And so I'm looking for older wedding.
A what?
You know, you're newlywed. Can you be an older wed? I'm looking for older wedding.
Older wed.
Being in the house, just us, is so fun.
That's what I was gonna say. I think we have a ton of fun together. So for me, I'm just looking forward to having just our moments, our best friend moments, all of those things where we we enjoy each other's company. So I'm actually not at all worried about the kids being there or not being there. I think our next phase of life is so far, when I think about it, I feel like it's going to be a really beautiful time where we don't have to, I feel like we have had a lot of grit, like people have used that to describe us. We both kind of grew up in very different environments, but still had we had to survive some things. I'm looking forward to my softer season where it's like life's just not such a fight all the time and it's not so hard all the time. And I feel like, sometimes in your younger years, you have to just kind of fight through life. And I am loving this season of life where we have amazing people around us, where we have each other, we really like each other, we don't just love each other, we have fun, and I don't see it slowing down. I think for a long time I was always like, oh, as soon as this happens, life's gonna slow down, or we'll be able to have this downtime. And then I just threw that out the window. I was like, that's never actually gonna happen. So however our life looks in the speed of it, I'm just looking forward to the joy of it and the new traditions and fun and cycle, like these things that we get to build as you then get into being parents to older kids, making sure that those traditions for our grandkids and for those, the older kids they have. People say empty nest, I still want our home to always be a home that everybody comes back to.
100%.
Like I want Christmas, Thanksgiving, even if they go and have family with I want the whole family. That's why it matters who you marry, because your families have to come together. So I want to have the house where it's just full of love and full of people and full of those really special moments. So I'm excited for that kind of stuff.
Watch First 48 when we're binge on First 48 when we're 70.
How do we go from Christmas to First 48?
Because that's how we go from. That's how we go from. That's us.
True crime and Santa Claus at the same time.
Yeah.
Perfect.